Hi, this is Todd Oltoff from toddoltoff.com coming back at you with another screencast. And this week we're going to take a look at preparing yourself for the upgrade to Server 5. Now, I was taking a look at the server information and getting ready. I've been playing with the betas and that sort of thing. And I all of a sudden noticed in my software update right here that OS X Server 5 is available, and it's available for download and for upgrade. You can see right here 5.0.4. That's also, it's 1999 like we know. And the interesting thing is that the update's already been available, and this time it is not OS specific. So what that means is that you can install OS X Server 5 on either Yosemite or on El Capitan. So you could actually install the server software right now before the OS upgrade. And so what I thought I'd do is cover this a little bit just in case some of you are curious, or maybe you automatically hit the update button when you got that showed up in your updates area. Again, it'll show up over here like any other update. And just wanted to cover a couple of things. First of all, just to prepare you, I want to cover just how to be ready to back yourself up and all of that information so that you're good to go when the backup comes through. But the other thing I wanted to prepare you for is the fact that there are some bugs in here that some people are having issues with. And so I want to really be able to stress the fact that you'll want to have an update and have several ways to be able to do that to restore things to make your life easier. If you just scroll down and look at some of the comments here, you can see some people are having some issues with the website service, having some issues and problems, and then someone else is having an issue with the SMB service. Now, again, those are different different bugs and things that will creep up along the way. And so if your server is mission critical, I would recommend just waiting until a lot of these bugs get ironed out. Now, I know some of you may just have jumped in already and you may be experiencing those bugs, but I want to give you that warning before you jump in. Now, to prepare yourself, for those of you that don't like to wait, you like to jump in right away, that's usually what I do for you to try to find some of these bugs. But let me just pop this down here. And what I want to do is just walk you through a few things to do to back yourself up and be ready for any problems you might have so that you can roll back and restore. Now, one of the simplest ways to do that would be to do a time machine backup. And if you remember, time machine is not done through the website service, but instead is done through system preferences itself. If you pull up system preferences here, it would be in the time machine service window here that you would actually do that backup. You'd throw the switch and then it would do those incremental backups for you. So that's one way that you could back up, and you could do a restore from that. Another thing you could do is to do a bootable backup. And I know I've covered before things like Super Duper, and I've talked about Carbon Copy Cloner. I thought this time what I'd do is cover a different piece of software to help you out. And let me pull this up here, and that is Cronosync from Econ Software. Now, Cronosync will create a bootable backup. You do have to pay for this software, but I wanted to point out a few things about it. It does have a number of different features that may make this worth it to you, and especially with this new version 4 here. Basically, what you can do is create this bootable backup as it shows here, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. But you can also create things like a local backup. You can also synchronize folders between machines. So for those of you that might just want to have a folder in sync between your multiple machines, you can actually do that with Cronosync. You don't have to have server necessarily to do that. It has automatic backups. You can do it manually. It'll also transfer storage stuff to your iOS devices. But again, with server, we kind of do that sort of thing anyway. But the other thing that's really nice is you've got the ability to do remote backups and even remote bootable backups, so that if you wanted to have a remote bootable backup, let's say of a laptop or something like that, you could actually have a drive hooked up to your server and have that backing up to that drive that's hooked up to your server to create a bootable backup of your laptop, so that you can restore yourself a lot more quickly. Now, this is great because you can do the time machine backup with server, but with having a bootable backup, you always have to remember to plug the drive into your laptop and that sort of thing. Whereas here, you can do that over the air. Even remotely, okay? So you don't have to do it just in the same network. You can do it while you're out on the go, and it will automatically be backing up your information to a drive that you can boot from. So a very great service, and I'll probably do a screencast to go a little bit more in depth on that. But I wanted to show you that that was available. So let me just pop this down for a minute, and let me just show you what Cronosync looks like. I want to pull that up so you can get a picture of it. This is Cronosync when you first launch it. In fact, let me just put server down here. You get this screen where you can create a brand new synchronizer document that helps you synchronize or backup, and they can be done separately. You can also create a container document, and what that is that just allows you to create multiple sync documents into one container, so that when you run the sync, it will do all of those actions at one time. So if you have a bootable backup, maybe you've got folders to synchronize, or maybe you got multiple bootable backups, you can schedule them all to run and fire at the same time if you want to, just by putting them in a container document, and then all you have to do is the settings one time. So that's really nice. You can see here I've got a server boot backup right here. So I'm going to do is just open that to show you what it looks like to set this up. So it's going to go ahead and read from that and load it right now. And so here we are in this bootable backup. And so this is the setup. And so again, it's a very visual setup, very similar to some of the visual stuff you see with SuperDuper or one of those other clone softwares. You're going to put your source target here. In other words, this would be your hard drive that you've got in your server. You can see I've got that right here, Server HD. And then you're going to go to your destination target, which is a backup drive that I've got that's called Server Backup that I'll back up to. And you can basically choose it from here. You can add or remove a connection. You can do the same on this side. And then you choose your operation here in the middle. And so you would select it as bootable, and I'm going bootable left to right. If you went right to left, you would just switch these two drives. You can also do a bootable mirror right to left if you want to sort of mirror everything on the drive. But I just do this bootable backup. You can go left to right or right to left if you want to. Again, you can see all the different synchronization options that are here as well. Let me just come off of that. Now, it also has some information on when deleting items, and this is kind of a nice feature too, that if you've deleted something from your hard drive, let's say, and you wanted to get it back, but when you did a bootable backup, it just sort of makes a direct copy of your internal drive, and so you lose those files you delete. This Cronosync allows you to actually move deleted files to an archive so that you can go back and get those if you need to get them. And so it works a little bit differently in that it's a bootable backup, but it also operates a little bit like an incremental sync in the sense that if you've deleted something, you can always go back and get it. And you can also archive replaced files too. Again, just in case you make a mistake, you can go back and get those. So you'll need a bigger drive if you're going to do that, because it's going to keep some of that information on there. But it's well worth it if you want to have that safety across the board. Now, once I've got everything set up, I can go ahead and sync it, and I can even schedule my syncs. I can add it to a schedule right here. If I just click on this, you'll notice I get that schedule window, but I've also got a schedule over here that says when it was last run and when it's going to run again. You can see it's idle right now. I'm going to close this window. But you can set up all of the times when you want this to run, how often you want it to run, what days, how many minutes, all of that sort of thing. You can set that up here. I'm just going to cancel that because I've already got that set up. The other thing you can do too is you have various options. If I go into the options, I can set specific options. And what's nice about Cronosync is it does send you a report if you want to. And so it can actually email you a report with some of the errors if any errors came up. And then you can decide how you want to handle errors, right? You can say ask the user. You can say, report to user, skip, exclude, abort the entire backup if you have errors. Again, on different rollbacks, do you copy, exclude, or skip? So it does give you a little bit more fine-tuning that you can do with the particular sync process. And again, you've got this smart scan, and that's what you want to use, because the smart scan basically only updates those files that were changed and so are added and that sort of thing. So that every time you do a backup, it's not going to do a complete backup. So again, just has a lot of different things. There's some notifications here. Again, that's the email, or send an email when I'm done. If I've got any errors or I need an error summary, it'll just again, you can post messages via notification center, so they'll pop out on the side there so you can see them. So anyways, it'll let you know then that things were okay, and that's a nice feature again, because sometimes with the other cloners you don't know if it's okay or not. It just kind of does its thing and you'd have to look it up. You can set up rules for it for certain files and extensions which you don't need for a boot backup. You can analyze. And basically you can come in here and choose which things to exclude or not exclude, or how you want to handle them. You can do that in here. And then you've got your archive here where it shows all of the information that has been archived on the drive so that you can kind of see what do I want to keep or what don't I want to keep. And so it's just a quick way of looking at that. Once you've set this up, you just click the synchronize button and it'll start the synchronization process. I'm going to leave that alone because I've already done it. So it's very important that you have a bootable backup, because then if anything goes wrong, you can roll back then from this bootable backup and restore that. And I'll try to show you what that looks like in a future screencast there, but we're just doing the setup right now. So let me just put this down for a minute, and I'm going to put this down. Let's pull the server application back up here. Now, another thing that you're going to want to do is back up your Open Directory. Now, the reason for doing this is sometimes when you do an upgrade, it can corrupt your Open Directory. Just, that's a possibility. And so if everything else is right except for your Open Directory, it'd be better just to be able to roll back to your Open Directory and restore it from where it was. So to do that, you come in here to Open Directory, you hit this little gear here, and you say Archive It. And you're going to choose where you want to archive the file. And so I'm going to do it in a folder here I have on the server. And I'm going to save it up here and just give it a name. And I'm just going to say OD Backup, just like that. And then I'm going to say Save. And it's going to ask me for an archive password. And so this is a password that I need to remember to open the archive. So let me just do that. I got to type it again. Okay, once I have that, I'm just going to click Next. And so it's going to say, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to back it up. I'm going to put it over here. Is that okay? I'm going to say Archive. And now it's going to start the process of archiving my Open Directory master. And like I said, once you have this archive, you have the ability now to restore from it. And this has all of your information, like your user accounts and that type of thing. And so you really want to make sure you have this all backed up and safe, so you don't have to go through and update all of those things over and over and over again. So I'm going to go ahead and let this run. There we go. It's done, actually. So it finished it rather quickly. So now we have that archive there. And so we're in good shape. We can actually restore from it. Now, one more thing I'd recommend before you do your upgrade, and that is there's another application. Let me just come over here called Bender. I've talked about Bender before. It's basically an automated backup of all of your server settings. And so what it does is it backs up everything. Your Open Directory, it backs up Profile Manager, the databases that go with all of that. I mean, it does a complete backup of your wiki services, all of that sort of thing, so that you can then restore them if anything goes wrong. This is a very important application to go ahead and use. So let me click here to download it. So it's going to download the application, and let's go ahead and I'm just going to show it in the Finder here for a minute, and we're going to move this into Applications. We'll go into Applications here and launch Bender. We're going to launch the package file, and so we're going to go ahead and install it. We're going to say yes to the license. We're going to agree to the software. We're going to install it. And so it's going to ask for my authentication. I'm going to say install the software. So it's now going to configure it, and now we're all set and ready to go. So now we've got Bender installed on our computer. So let me just go over and put this stuff down, and we'll take a look at it. Okay, once Bender is installed, it starts to run its process, and so I let it run here. And you'll notice that it creates a backups folder on the root of the hard drive here. Puts a date on it, so as you can see, it's backed up tonight, and it basically backs up these files. You've got an Open Directory backup. You can see there's the sparse image. I've got Profile Manager backed up right here. My server admin is backed up. You can see all the different backups there. I've got a wiki backup, and I've got wiki files that are backed up. Again, I don't have any files because I haven't created anything on my wiki in detail, so those aren't in there. But it will back up all of these things, and it will create a new backup every night at 10 p.m. And so it's a great way just to make sure you have these things that you need so you can always restore from them. On the website, it tells you how to actually stop Bender if you want to, or to restore from those files. And again, I may cover that here in the future, but I just wanted to kind of show you that these are the things that you may want to back up. So let me just pop that down and come back in here. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how to prepare for the upgrade. Again, with any upgrade, problems can happen, and so you want to make sure you've kind of got all these angles covered so that you can easily restore and get back where you were just in case something goes wrong. In a future screencast, what I'm going to do is walk you through the process as always, and we'll start taking a look at the different features and changes that are available in Server 5 under either Yosemite or El Capitan. So that's all I have for this week. I'll be back at you next week with another screencast to help you learn how to do more things with your Mac.